Move on to, yes, I've missed out loads of stuff, but we'll move on to number 5, if you wouldn't mind. Thanks very much. I've got these. Number 5 here is from the film. You hopefully you've seen this. If you haven't, you should. It's Pride, the 2014.
Just want to make a little note here. 2014, the film came out. So at that stage, where was transgender? Monica Helms had given the flag to the Smithsonian. They'd been in a pride parade, and then it was 2006 when Virginia Prince had what was it called? Virginia Prince, Pioneer of Transgendering, was released. So there was no LGBT during this period.
Film about lesbians and gays support the miners, fantastic solidarity campaign, which actually had enormous impact, not just in delivering solidarity to the miners in the miners' strike, but actually fed into, challenging the attitudes of a lot of workers, a lot of trade unions, and so on, and led into many unions and the TUC itself changing their approach to one of actively supporting LGBT plus rights. And that's the kind of example we need to bear in mind when we're fighting back against transphobia in general, but again, against the guidance that's coming in particular. If we move on to the last one, I don't want to waste these, you know what I mean? This is just a couple of pictures really from some of the recent protests and fight back and so on. And it's what we need to be doing lots more of, getting out onto the streets, building active fight back and campaigns as well. This one in particular, I thought was fantastic, fantastically inspirational. This is from Trans Pride, I think actually about 2 or 3 years ago now, but the banners are the important thing here, okay? There are a whole bunch of banners here from teachers, from NEU branches. That's what we need to be doing. We need to be building those links between the, our trade union branches and the trans activists and the trans movement. Now, the fact of the matter is that there are many people, unfortunately, within trans activism who are quite suspicious about the involvement of trade unions. They discourage, we had it in Leeds actually, they discouraged us taking our trade union banners down to Trans Pride. And I think this is something that we have to address sensitively. We have to understand that people are coming from this kind of identity theory background where they think that, whatever your identity is, whether it's woman, black, trans or whatever, is kind of the key thing, the key divider, if you like, between, your particular identity and everybody else. It's understandable that young people have that initial view, if you like, because, you're coming out, you look for people who are like you want to socialize with people like you want safe spaces with people like you. But actually, if you pursue that politics to its logical conclusion, it leads to separatism. It leads to a situation where, I am summing up. It leads to a situation where you cut yourself off from the very force which is actually able to change the system that we live in and to challenge the roots of the transphobia and the repression that we're facing. It leads to a removal from the potential power of workers and the potential power of the working class to really bring about change and to really shift things. Now, what I'm not doing, I'll finish on this really, I'm not suggesting that, that we separate the fight for changing the world, which is essentially what the SWP is about, isn't it? Marxism is a theory and practice of liberation, isn't it, for all of us, whatever our background. So I'm not arguing that we separate that off from the day-to-day fight against transphobia. We obviously have to fight against the attempts to roll back the rights of any minority, any oppressed group. But we can do that at the same time as arguing and fighting to build the sorts of organisation that we need, the confidence and the combativity of the working class, because the working class, because it's the body that produces profit and is therefore fundamental to the system. It's the power of the working class that we have to ultimately harness in order to change the world, change the system that actually gives rise to the transphobia and all the other oppressions in the first place. If we don't do that, if we just fight back on the question of, one oppression, one attack and so on, we are going to face the same arguments down the road. Whenever the system goes into crisis, as it is massively in crisis, climate, all sorts of existential crises, economic crises that we're facing, we cannot just deal with those oppressions in isolation. We have to address the question of changing the nature of the society that we live in as well. And I think I'll end on that point. So there we go.
Thank you.